What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of the Barbaric Yawp. I am your host, Adam, and today we're going to talk about censorship. Censorship is one of those things that is currently in vogue. There are terms like cancel culture that have come into the popular vernacular lately, and we've seen in many instances people having a dissenting opinion about something, and instead of a healthy debate happening, that person is canceled, that person is fired, that person is doxxed, that person is sought out, embarrassed, attacked by the mob, trying to keep them from stating their dissenting opinion. Now, to my mind, that means that censorship is the tool of a bully that's unsure of his argument's validity. And in cancel culture, the mob is acting like a bully, right? Instead of truth, the pursuit of truth being the justification for the way we act, we don't want our feelings to get hurt, or we don't want our argument or our narrative to be challenged. So instead of dealing with the argument itself and trying to determine what the truth is, rather than that, we'll just cancel somebody. We will limit the discourse and make it to where fewer and fewer ideas are expressed. Now, this presents a problem, and here's why. Let's look at the board. So here's the problem I typically have with the whole cancel culture idea, right? You have a debate, right? And somewhere in the middle is the truth, right? Somewhere in the middle is where we find realities, where we find most likely the truth. In today's world, politically speaking, you have the left and the right. Now, when you censor somebody, if you have equal voices on the left and the right, then you have balance. You're more likely in that discourse to land somewhere in the middle, which is where the truth should be, right? But when you censor somebody, you start removing voices. And all of a sudden, your scale is really lopsided. All of a sudden, all you hear is one argument. Whichever mob has the most voices. This does not equal the truth. And you might think, well, that's great. If it's my side winning, who cares, right? If it's my side that has the mob, then great. What happens when it's not your side? What happens when power shifts? What happens when the mob that you're a part of changes its position? And suddenly you find yourself not in the same group or not in the same camp. It's okay when it was, those crazy right-wing conspiracy theorists getting shut down. It's not so okay when, hey, I have a family and kids too, and I think I should raise my kids, not the state. Or some other argument that maybe you agreed with initially, but when the argument changes, when their position shifts, you don't want to shift with it. You were happy where you were. And now that censorship applies to you. This is the danger with limiting voices. When you limit voices, you limit the argument, it's very difficult for you to maintain control of who the mob is or who the bully is, who's the person that gets to decide what gets censored. What gets censored is determined by the powers that be. And in a world currently where the internet democratizes everything and all the voices can be heard, as big power players like Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and Google start censoring different voices and different groups and eliminating them from the conversation, all of a sudden, you as a concerned citizen trying to find the truth don't have an option of finding a voice that speaks truth or speaks a counter argument to what you've always been told. You're left only hearing one side of things, which means you're only going to believe probably that side, even if it doesn't resonate with your soul. Censorship eliminates the options. It decreases the availability of information. It decreases the discourse. And ultimately, I think, gets us further from the truth and further from where we should be. Does that mean you're always going to agree with everything? Probably not. Does that mean you're going to be offended sometimes by something someone says? Possibly. But here's the thing. When you're offended, ultimately nothing happens. You have the ability to keep on going with your life. You have the ability to keep pursuing truth. You have the ability to continue in whatever course of action, generally speaking, that you were about to do in the first place. Your feelings getting hurt does not change societal landscape, right? This whole idea that people are too weak, that a bully can so destroy your life, means that we're teaching our children and we're teaching people not to cope with dissenting opinions, not to cope with things that they don't like, instead trying to remove them. You could say this is a result of helicopter parenting or a school system that decided both parties are guilty when there's a fight, even if there's an aggressor and somebody who is obviously just defending themselves. Both parties are guilty. Both parties get suspended. It doesn't work that way. We are denying reality from our children, which is leading them to believe in a reality that can't be maintained. You cannot maintain a reality in which there are no dissenting opinions. You can't live in that kind of a bubble. You'll be a moron. You'll be an uneducated idiot, because sooner or later, not only will they censor things like on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Google, they will start removing the books. They will start removing any other source of truth or alternate opinion that might be out there. This is what they did in Germany. When Hitler took over, it started very subtly. It started with censorship. It started with amending certain things. And ultimately it led to mass book burnings. It led to the truth being snuffed out from public discourse. And that allowed them to set public opinion. I don't think we in the United States want that to happen here. Maybe I'm wrong, and obviously there's a lot of people out there that are pushing hard for censorship and trying to remove any possible bully that could be. But I don't think that helps us. I think we need more conversation, not less. I think we need more information, not less. I think we need more people to speak up and tell the truth as they see it, even if we disagree. And we are allowed to take that information and decide for ourselves what's right.